Welcome back to some 428 Shibuya. Now, we have finished Achi's. Let's look at the time chart. I'm gonna keep out of Achi. I'm gonna keep out from Tama. I'm gonna keep out from Osawa. So, I'm not. If these jumps aren't in Kano's story, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to go searching, I guess. However, when they do pop up, rather than play Kano's story, I'm gonna finish that story, because Kano's story is gonna be the last one I do. And then we will be on to the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock time zone. Time block. Okay, so let's get started. Remember, we just got picked up by the US Embassy, so following Kano's directions, Stanley drove toward the crime syndicate's hangout. There was a good chance that this was where Maria was being held. Traffic was practically non-existent and they made good time. They cruised down Mayama Suzaka and then down the train station on Dogenzaka. All the while, the two men stared out the windshield, neither inclined to make a conversation. They arrived at the Shin-Sen-Cho intersection. "Take a right here," Kano said. "You nervous?" Stanley asked as he made the turn. His own tone was calm and level. Kano gave no reply. If the syndicate really was holding Maria hostage up ahead, he and Stanley might wind up putting her in danger by showing up there. If it came down to it, Kano wondered how he could count on the man next to him, taking the hostage's safety into account. He doubted it, but there was nothing he could do about it now. They arrived at the syndicate's hangout sooner than Kano had anticipated. It was a multi-tenant building in Tamigaya, southwest of Yoyogi Park. The ratty building looked like it might come crashing down at any moment. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous. Kano knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. "I'll take point," Stanley said. "You back me up." He pulled out a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a combat Glock. A Glock 17, a semi-automatic metal pistol. Include a line of dialogue claiming that the Glock would not show up on an airport x-ray, but since the gun barrel is made of this metal, this is assuredly not true. Issued by the FBI or the CIA. Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. They immediately heard sounds of a ruckus from behind a wooden door at the far end of the hall. Please don't let this be what I think it is, Kano thought to himself. Sweat beaded on his hand as he gripped the gun tighter. He heard the sound of glass shattering, and then came the sound of something heavy falling into the floor. "Maria!" Ignoring Stanley's previous owner, Kano rushed out, kicked down the door, and stepped inside. God damn! He walked right into a massacre. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out on the floor. He thought he recognized them all, the men who participated in the repeated briefcase handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Had these guys all turned on each other? No, that couldn't have been the case. None of the victims were holding a knife, which meant that whoever had killed them must still be hiding nearby. No sooner had Kano come to this conclusion that he heard a muffled cry behind him. "Stanley!" The American was sprawled on the floor, face down. Kano rushed over and knelt beside him. Stanley was dead stabbed through the back. Without an instant hesitation, Kano stood up again, gun at the ready. He scanned his surroundings, but there was no sign of the killer. But that was impossible. Stanley had been killed mere moments ago. Someone had to be here somewhere. Out of nowhere, he felt someone press the tip of a knife into his neck from behind, right at the base of his skull. How? He hadn't noticed anyone coming up on him. There wasn't even anyone else around. Nobody but the corpses scattered across the floor. Wait, the corpses? Kano hadn't checked them. Hadn't checked to make sure they were all really dead. With this last thought, he realized that this had been his fatal mistake. Well... who can cause a traffic jam? $13.10 it says so. But I'm gonna keep out. There we go. I found Archie's. No, now that I'm about to keep out, we're gonna go back here. Maybe there's blood between them. Yep. Here with the rush relief. Regardless, though, we have to track down that blue van. The sound of a children's cry came from behind them. Turning to look, they saw the kidnapper rushing toward them. He had knocked over the little girl who was in his way. No rest for the weary, Archie sighed. Yet again, he and Hitomi sprinted away. Do you think he... Yeah. We did all this. Here we go. What? There was someone else. Yep, now I remember. As luck would have it, they soon found a crowd in their path, backs turned towards them. Excited voices rose up from the throng. What? Whoa, what's the deal? Something going on? It's a street fight. Archie clutched Atomi's hand good and tight. Whatever you do, don't let go. Without a moment's hesitation, he plowed his way through the crowd. Emerging on the far side of the gathering, Archie saw the main road ahead. Cars were zipping past in a steady stream. What do we do? There were too many cars for them to rush across the street without getting hit, but then they couldn't exactly just sit and wait for the light to change, and they certainly couldn't go back the way they came. The pursuers were getting closer and closer. Hitomi! Archie shouted. We're going across! What? Dragging Hitomi by the hand, Archie darted out into the street. Like I said, if I said we got one of the jumps, we're finishing that story. So now we're gonna finish Archie's, and then go back to Archie and not get. Finish Archie's, and then finish Kano's. Moving purely by instinct, he wove his way through the gaps between the speeding cars. When they were halfway across, the car slammed on its brakes to keep from hitting them, causing several cars behind it to crash into one another. The multi-vehicle pileup plunged the road into total chaos. And there's Kano. As a result of this chaos, traffic in the nearby area will be at a standstill. Yep. In a matter of moments, the street was clogged with a long line of stopped vehicles. Archie and Hitomi's pursuers remained on the other side and did not pursue. Okay. That That was crazy. They told me bandits that I should caught her breath. Well, you know what they say. Idle feet are the devil's playthings. Hands. It's idle's hands. Whatever. As long as they got in the way. Come on, let's go. Achi led the way down several twisting side streets before slowing his pace. By now, Hitomi was slumped and panting heavily. He wanted to give her some time to rest, but if they just hung around, the pursuers might find them. He looked around and spotted a multi-tenant building. The nearest door was open. Bundles of flyers were set up near the entrance. Flyers for Au Revoir, the troop, the Wandering Angels, looking back on his 100-year life as a warrior. The performance features wire action as its major set piece, with Ryu and his rival, Shido, flying high through the air, doing battle with the magical Maru Masa blade and beam saber respectively. Archie peeked inside and saw piles of plywood and painted lumber. It looked like this was a storeroom for a theater's stage, props, and scenery. We can hide out in here, he said. But... Hitomi hesitated, but Archie gave our hand a little tug. It'll be fine, there's nobody around. They stepped inside the storeroom, and Archie quickly shut the door behind them. We should probably rest for a bit, he said. There was a wooden platform set up beside a large piece of plywood. Archie picked up a magazine that had fallen on the floor and spread it out atop the platform's dusty surface. Here, now you can sit without getting your clothes dirty. Thank you. Hitomi quietly took a seat. We should probably turn off our cell phones, Archie said. It could be really bad if they rang at the wrong moment. The two powered off their phones. Archie took a curiouser look around. It didn't look like there was a way in or out besides the door they'd come in through. There was a single window set in the wall, but it wouldn't open far enough to let them through. Oh, fuck me. Ah! It told me that with a quiet gasp. Someone was outside the storeroom. That fucking got me. Archie put a finger to his lips, and Hitomi gave a fearful nod. The window's frosted glass blocked any real view in or out. As long as they stayed quiet, they ought to be safe. Oh, hell no. That's creepy as fuck. Whoever was outside pressed their face to the frosted glass, trying to get a glimpse inside. The blurry visage of the foreigner who attacked them was dimly visible. Like the man with the cane before him, this guy was quick to catch up. The man pounded on the glass. Archie swallowed the lump in his throat. If this guy got in, they'd have nowhere to run. Archie turned to Hitomi. We're gonna sit. We're gonna sit tight. We'll be fine. Just sit tight. Hitomi clutched onto Archie's arm hard. Can I help you with something? Said a casual voice from outside. He saw the pursuer react at once, pulling back from the window. That's just our storeroom, you know, the voice added. Archie heard footsteps scampering away. The kidnapper had run off. Woo! That was close. Archie exchanged glances with Hitomi and let out a tiny sigh. There were more voices coming from outside now. What was up with that guy? I don't know. Ugh. Ah, whatever. Let's just hurry and get this stuff tidied up. My throat's raw. Sounded like a conversation between two men. The storeroom door opened and the men clumpered their way inside. Tai Kaya and Toro Taga. So we have the star actor, leading role of Ryu. He slept completely naked and caught a... Who the fuck? Leading to a sore throat he has now, Toga is the stage director. He is very irritated that Bando, in charge of the props, seems to have gone AWOL. So what are we getting? Ugh. Let's grab all these folding chairs over there. Yeah? The producer said we're gonna need a lot more seats all of a sudden. We're still... Oriya said that? Going all out for the troops last for all, huh? Beats me, man. No real hurry, the men went about carrying the folding chairs out. They didn't notice Achi and Hitomi sitting silently in the shadows. Ugh. Not to change the subject, but how come we're using a dry ice machine and not a smoke machine? Maybe that's why my throats bother me. Ugh. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Nobody's even operating it and it's still drawing a ton of power. I think it's defective. Ugh. Achi and Hitomi waited for the two men to finish up. If they were spotted, it would probably cause a scene, and worse still, it might alert the men who were hunting them. Once they carried off the rest of the folding chairs, the men closed the storeroom door. The foreigners could still be nearby, though, so Archie decided they should hide out in the room a little longer. Yeah, this blows. I want to get back out there looking for that blue van ASAP, but... Archie trailed off as something occurred to him. Wait a second. Now that's weird. Hitomi looked at him inquiringly. The kidnappers already have the ransom money, yeah? Archie said. That's right. And then they told you that your sister was in some blue minivan. Isn't that kind of weird? What do you mean? Did you figure that your sister was in the minivan by herself? Oh, yes. If one of the kidnappers was with her, they wouldn't need to send me to go get her. Right, Archie said. And yet the fact was that as soon as the kidnappers had their money, they could have let Hitomi's sisters out of the vehicle and just run off. There was no point in sending Hitomi to fetch her personally. A look of revelation dawned on Hitomi's face. Oh. That minivan had already left Dorganzaka, she said. And it came back while they were waiting for it. Archie finished. He thought it back to his earlier run-in with the blue vehicle. So then inside that minivan, there had been a bunch of foreigners inside, which meant they were trying to ambush her. They told her that her sister was in there in that minivan to lure her to it. And the kidnappers had been lying in wait inside. Do you think they were trying to kidnap me too? That's it! Archie clapped his hands together. And then they let your sister go and demand a ransom for you. And then they'd make her deliver the ransom money for your release. They'd be able to get like infinite ransom money by constantly abducting one twin after another. That seems a little far-fetched. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Now that she said so, Archie realized it was kind of a ridiculous idea. Still, what if the kidnappers were really trying to kidnap me? Hitomi said. As in, like, they accidentally abducted the wrong twin. I mean, I guess that would have been easy to botch up. That would mean they wanted me specifically and not my sister. Hitomi paused briefly and thought. Maybe you're hotter than your sister or something, Archie suggested with enthusiasm. Hitomi shook her head. That can't be it. If anything, it's the other way around. Compared to my sister, I'm just... Hey, whoa! Stop right there! Archie had to interrupt her. You're not just anything. Please don't. I am. I'm just... Tears had welled up in Hitomi's eyes. Why? Why did this have to happen to her? Why not me? Whoa, hey, come on, don't cry. I'm sorry. Cheer up. It's like that song says. Don't just stand there. Wipe those tears away. That one. You know it? Is that Aya Kamiki? Yeah, that's the one. Put your hand in mine. Every single bee's a light. Huh? You know, every single bee's a light. Tell me that out a giggle. Everything will be alright. You got the lyrics wrong. It's everything will be alright. Ah, right. Yeah, I guess that kind of makes more sense, I guess. Archie's mouth curled into a sheepish smile. Alright, I think we've laid long enough, Archie said at last. Think we should be on our way? He was about to get to his feet when he heard voices outside the storeroom again. Yikes! That was pretty careless of us. Yeah, we definitely gotta watch it. Peter guys from earlier had returned and they sounded a bit panicked. Blah blah blah. Heard folks have been messing with the storeroom a bunch recently. Ugh, uh-huh. And did you hear who's behind it? Some juvenile delinquents. Like a gang? Whoa, that takes me way back. Alright, let's hurry on back. Archie rushed over to the door. Ah, fuck. Is this really about to be a bad end right now? Archie tried turning the knob, but the door wouldn't budge. Oh, come on, are you fucking kidding me? He paced frantically around the room, pulling out his hair. We're locked in. And that door was the only way in or out. Damn it. They were truly trapped inside the storeroom. This is all my fault, Archie said. It was my idea to hide out here in the first place. He bowed to Hitomi repeatedly. We're never going to be able to find that blue minivan now. Bad end. Guess we'll have to get someone on the outside to help us, Hitomi replied. She scowled thoughtfully. They powered their phones back on in order to call for help. The big question was who they could possibly ask. Hitomi, anyone you can reach out to? Mr. Tanaka, I suppose. Tanaka, right. The suggestion didn't exactly thrill Archie. He had no idea what this Tanaka guy was like. Hopefully, he was the dependable sort who'd actually show up to rescue them. But somehow that thought made Archie feel even worse. Archie had someone he figured he could call, but he hesitated, uncertain. There had been a time when he trusted this guy more than anyone. They bailed each other out of countless jams. Nowadays, though, things were different. Tommy gave Archie a puzzled look as he sat, lost in thought. Right, guess I don't have much of a choice. Archie scrolled through his contact lists on his phone. He found the name he had thought he'd never call again. Susumu. Yo. Archie? Is that you? Susumu's voice was low and guarded. Look, I've got a favor to ask you. I'm in a real bind here. Huh? Like, things are ridiculously bad. I thought maybe you could help me out a little bit. You seriously thought I'd help you? Susumu's voice were like ice. You messing with me or something, man? Now he sounded a touch angry as well. Painful memories flashed before Archie's eyes. Alright then, sorry to bug you, just forget it. But Susumu hung up before Archie even finished talking. No dice. Archie said to Hitomi with a lopsided frown. She looked back at him, her expression a mirror of his own. What should we do? What should we do? I guess we're back to Mr. Tanaka. Guess so. You want to go ahead then? Oh, here's my jump to, Hitomi tried calling him repeatedly, but Tanaka didn't pick up. What could have happened? She muttered under her breath. You think maybe the kidnappers found out that Mr. Tanaka and I have been in contact? Archie shrugged. It looks like they were going to need to find some way out of here on their own, and then maybe look for the minivan themselves. Archie strode over to the door and grabbed hold of the knob. He tried giving it a good sturdy pull. Ugh, no good. The thing won't even budge. That door opens outward. Wait, really? Archie tried giving it a push. It still didn't open. He kicked it. Oh! The door wasn't nearly as steady as Archie had expected. I think I can make this work. He backed up to get a running start and then kicked the door with all his might. Hi-ya! The door went flying off its hinges. Aw, man, that was way too easy. Archie stepped cautiously out of the storeroom. He quickly scanned the surrounding area. There was nobody in sight. Looks like we're in the clear, he called, but Hitomi didn't come out. Nor did she reply. Hitomi? She had her phone in her hand, apparently still trying to get in touch with Tanaka. With a tiny sigh, Archie leaned against the wall and waited for her to finish. Well? Doesn't look like I'm going to have any luck, she said. You know we can leave now, right? Are you still holding out hope for your Mr. Tanaka? It's not that. I'm just a little worried. Oh, yeah? Okie dokie then. I'll just wait around out here. Okay, I'll be right with you. Uh-huh. Archie shuffled his way back outside. Ah, you bitch! Ah, fuck! By the time Archie could finish processing what he thought, he was already laid out on the ground. His jaw hit the asphalt hard. He bit the tip of his tongue clean off! Ow! Ow! Fuck! The taste of blood filled his mouth. A moment later, he took a sharp blow to the head. He was done for. All the energy drained from his body. His mind whirled. His vision grew hazy. He began to drift from consciousness. Back when he'd run with Susumu and the others, he never left himself exposed to a surprise attack. There were plenty of times he'd taken a punch to send him reeling, only to spin away and come back swinging. This time, he hadn't even seen it coming. It was his last mistake. Huh. Guess I'd let myself go soft. Archie grimaced inwardly, muttering in a voice no one but he could hear. Hitomi, I'm so sorry. Yep. All that for nothing. Huh? What? Okay, well. Okay, now I have to... Wait, what? What happened to Osawa's keep out? Hold on, let me take care of this. What? Okay, hold on, guys. Now the bug tracker... All of a sudden, a different noise cutting over the bug tracker. Kajiura here. Kano? Kajiura's customary nonchalant expression vanished into a sudden seriousness. Sorry, hold on. Can't really hear you. Headed out of the room, the phone clutched to his ear. Sawa was left to wonder what the detective had been about to tell him. The bug tracker was what? What the heck was he going on? The sound wasn't stopping. Deciding that he better do something, Osawa took the bug tracker and checked behind his briefcase. It didn't seem like the signal was coming from out there. He proceeded to pull each and every one of his books off the shelf. Nothing. He checked the area on his computer. He scanned the monitor, the case, the power outlet, but he found nothing that could be a listening device anywhere. He found a small screwdriver and dismantled the mouse. The brown circuit was lined with chips, but nothing out of the ordinary. And the mechanical sound continued to still mock him. Just try to find it. Go ahead, look everywhere. Beep 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 beep. He was being ridiculed. The sound just wouldn't stop. And still the time ticked past. Had it been 5 minutes? 10? Maybe more? He began to lose hope that he could find the listening devices and even stop caring. Instead, he was overcome with the feeling that this room, which for years had been his sanctuary, had ceased to be his own. As if something other had intruded and laid claim to his personal space. In his fevered mind, he began to hear the tracker sound as a high-pitched laugh, an accused, relentless noise, cruel and taunting, the mockery of the devil himself. Osawa hurled the boat truck against the wall, and then he picked it up, only to smash it back on the floor. And he stomped on it furiously. There was a satisfying snap, accompanied by the sensation of that thing being crushed underfoot. Jesus, I'm sweating too. The noise stopped. Or, well, it ought to have. And yet for some reason the horn noise kept sounding in Osawa's ears! It wasn't coming from the boat trucker after all. It was inside his own head, somewhere, inescapable, echoing within his skull! No, the noise didn't stop, it only grew louder. Why? 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 Osawa screamed! Why? Why was he being tormented like this? He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't even think straight anymore. He felt his mind beginning to dissolve. Jesus Christ, what did I do different? What? Okay, so now I have to fix Osawa's bad end too. I still have Car and Thomas keep out as well. Jesus, this is getting fucking confusing. The car moved at a glacial pace toward the crime syndicate hangout. Then he pounded his fists on the steering wheel in frustration. They had no sooner set out than the traffic slowed to a near standstill. Despite the occasional lurch, it never crept above a crawl. Kano stewed in the passenger seat. The case was rapidly getting out of hand. Now he had to worry about the safety of both Maria and his sister Hitomi. Never mind the fact that Detective Titano had also gone missing. There were too many unknowns, too many uncertainties. His unease was growing unbearable. Also, Titano has radioed in, and we can't reach him from our end either. Kuz's words kept echoing inside Kano's head. What could have caused Titano to drop out of contact? Someone had gone after Hitomi, while Kano and the others were busy tailing the briefcase. Could Tano have been... No, it couldn't be. Kano was sure Titano would have done whatever was necessary to keep Hitomi safe. Suddenly broke the long silence. What's going on in your mind? Still thinking about that call from Kuz? Kano didn't answer. Look, if you're worrying about that other detective, the guy couldn't even protect one girl, Stanley continued. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Don't you talk about Detective Tano that way. I'm concerned about Hitomi Osawa, but the missing briefcase needs to come first. Stanley's expression remained stone cold. Kano flashed him a sidelong glare and then went back to staring out the window. A moment later, a flurry of motion in the nearby alley caught his eye. With a start, he recognized Sasayama! His fellow detective was caught up in an altercation with a man in dark clothes. Kano sprang into action, his body moving almost before his mind registered the situation. Sasayama! Flinging the door open, he leapt out of the car. Hey, wait! Stanley called after him. Kano was already sprinting toward the fight. Oof! The other man knocked Osawa into a pile of garbage. As Sasayama struggled to get back to his feet, his opponent looked down on him with a triumphant sneer. Kano finally got a good look at the man and his eyes flashed with recognition. It was the perp who first taken the briefcase back at the Scramble. Tariq Al-Kawan. You! Kano growled. He sped like a bullet to tackle Al-Kawan around his legs. But he nimbly sidesteps aside. Kano's arms closed on nothing but air. At the same moment, he wrapped an arm around Kano's neck. Kano felt a vis-like pressure on his carotid artery. Front choke sleeper hold. Constricting the carotid artery stops blood flow to the brain, causing the opponent to lose consciousness, also known as a guillotine choke. His consciousness quickly began to slip away. "Oh no, you don't, you bastard!" he snarled. Lowering his center of gravity, he got hold of one of Kawar's legs and used his shoulder as a fulcrum against it. Ah! Despite the arm still crushing his neck, Kano managed to lift the opponent high in the air. He continued the movement to heave Karawan up and over himself, slamming him down to a heap of trash. Stanley strolled up to the aftermath of the struggle. "Well, you've got the brawn part down," he said. "Need to work on some of the brains." He was spread out atop the mound of refuse. He had been knocked out cold. Sasayama coughed and sputtered. Kano went to help him to his feet, but Stanley sat between them. "What are you doing?" Stanley asked. "Helping Sasayama. What does it look like?" "We need to apprehend Kawan first." "He's not even conscious. Sasayama can come first." He pushed Stanley aside and crouched down alongside his partner. "Are you alright?" he asked. "Yeah," Sasayama groaned. "You bailing me out, though? Can't let the missus know about that." "A moment's the word," Kano said. He slipped an arm underneath Sasayama and helped him to his feet. "I managed to find the guy who had the briefcase," Sasayama said, "but then when I tried to expel him, this fella came out of nowhere and attacked me." He flashed out Kawan a nasty look. "So here we go again, disobeying direct orders," Stanley huffed. "What's the deal with the Japanese police anyway?" He shook his head in exacerbation. Sasayama gave Kano a puzzled look, jerking his thumb at the American. "Who's this guy?" "It's a long story," Kano said. He filled Sasayama in on the situation. "Enough chit-chat. Hurry up and cuff this guy," Stanley said. Kano knelt down by his unconscious body, flipped him over, proceeded to cuff his hands behind his back. "Huh?" Kano paused. His sleeve had slid back from his wrists. "What's this?" The unconscious man had a tattoo of a two-headed scorpion on his left forearm. Stanley strolled over. "You find something?" he said. He asked. "Yes. I think this guy might be the ringleader." Seeing the image had reminded Kano of something he heard back at headquarters. At the head of the foreign syndicate had a scorpion tattoo. He relayed this information to Stanley. "I see." Stanley called up Kuz on his cell. "You'd be happy to know that the guy with the briefcase is still at large," he said. "Apprehending the ringleader at this point shouldn't be an issue. One of your so very capable subordinates gave us a big step forward in the case here." "Wait a sec," Sasayama murmured. "That was sarcasm, wasn't it?" Stanley hung up and called over to him. "Think you can escort this guy back to the precinct?" "Yeah, sure. Seeing how very capable I am." Kano felt his phone vibrate. The display showed an incoming call from Rumi. "Hello?" he answered warily, keeping his voice down. Stanley had him a little on edge. "That's me." It was Shizo. Damn it! Kano thought. He did not have time for this right now. But if he just hung up, he might be in even deeper hot water. Kano. Fuck, we gotta listen. "Hello, sir. I'm afraid I'm not really at liberty to take a personal call right now, even if it is from my father-in-law." He did his best to sound apologetic. "I'm not your father-in-law." "Ah, yes, of course. Sorry, sir." He bowed his head He bowed his head reflexively, feeling like an idiot. "You really don't give a damn about keeping me waiting like this, do you?" "Sir, I swear to you, I feel terrible. Please, I just..." Plus, he took a deep breath and recomposed himself. "I promise you, sir. I promise I'll be there. If you can just wait a little while..." "Don't make promises you can't keep!" Shizo's barking rebuke made Kano break out in a sweat. "You think I'm gonna let you off the hook just because you're working a case? This is exactly why I don't want my daughter with some detective. Great, another angry tirade. But didn't you used to be a detective, sir? Kano muttered. You watch yourself, you little brat! It's not enough that you keep calling me your father-in-law. Now you have to bring that up! Evidently, Kano touched a raw nerve. Ever have a dentist hit a nerve while drilling a tooth? This is where the expression comes from. It seemed like anything he said only made matters worse. Well, you're not off the hook! Shizuo continued. Oh, I'm never letting my daughter marry the likes of you! This fury hitting its crescendo, Shizuo promptly hung up. Why on earth did Shizuo hold such intense malice toward police detectives when he had been one himself? Kano had been a detective for Rumi's sake in the first place, and now it was the biggest thing holding him back. Hey, come on, let's go. Stanley's voice snapped Kano out of his daze. Ugh. Grimly, he followed the American back to his car. Yet again, Stanley was thumping the steering wheel in frustration. Traffic hadn't let up one bit. It was starting to look like they might never make it to the Foreign Syndicate's hangout. Kano caught sight of a girl in a hoodie weaving her way through the... Huh? Miko Moyota. Oh, it was a fighter at the... Oh, retired after losing to Tama, the cat, in a street fight. She's now thinking about what to do with herself. He rolled down the window and called out to her. Excuse me, miss? Did something happen? Huh? What do you mean? With the road, I mean. What's with all the traffic? Oh, right. Apparently there was some big accident over by the train station. That's probably what's causing it. Really? Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be going anywhere for quite a while. She smiled and went on her way. Stanley gave the steering wheel another punch. Well, I guess they did say this was some typical ransom case, he muttered. Kano saw an opportunity. If they're not after the money, then what are they after? Stanley kept his eyes forward, acting as if he hadn't heard. Look, Kano said, I can't help you if you keep me out of the loop. After a few moments of thought, Stanley replied with a single monosyllable. Drugs. What? Maria's father, Kenji Osawa. I assume you're aware he works for Okashi Pharmaceutical? I am. Nothing's been made public yet, but Osawa recently oversaw the development of a new drug. And someone is trying to get their hands on it. Kano's mind latched onto this new information, trying to assemble the pieces of this evolving puzzle. Interesting. Someone? Who? An international... An international criminal mastermind. This foreign syndicate is merely a tool in someone else's game. Kano regarded Stanley's face carefully. He looked more cold and serious than ever. So what is that? Does that mean that the reason we're letting the syndicate walk around unfettered is on my orders? Yes. I see. So the only thing you're really concerned about is catching this international mastermind. Precisely. Kano felt like he was starting to get a picture of what sort of person Stanley was. So you don't really care about what happens to the girl who's been abducted, do you? Not particularly, no. Why? Do you have a problem with that? Kano clenched his fist. His hand was shaking with anger. What? Oh. When you really want to punch something, you really probably shouldn't. Kano recited the words inwardly like some sort of desperate mantra. If he didn't manage to calm himself down, he was liable to slam his fist right into Stanley's face. Outside the car, traffic remained at a standstill. Kano chafed against the feeling of utter futility. Chafed against the other. One after another, his uncertainties came to nag at him. Was Miria still safe? What had happened to Hitomi and Tatano, her bodyguard? And now, on top of all this, it struck Kano as rather careless to send Sasayama away with Al Kawan without any backup. Now that Jack had alerted him to the presence of a dangerous internal mastermind, still on the loose. Who's Jack? You mean Stanley? Finding back his feet of PQ, Kano got out his cell phone. No. Oh. Okay, so we know obviously we have to dial up Sasayama. Because if we dial up Kojiwara, it fucks with Asawa's story. He dialed up Sasayama. He wanted to make sure his partner had gotten Buddy back to the precinct safely. Sasayama picked up almost right away. Kano, what's up? How are things on your end? Any problems getting him back? No, I've got Tatano taking care of him. Wait, what? Kano could hardly believe his ears. You were in touch with Tatano? He asked. He could hear the shock in his own voice. Yeah, just bumped into him over by the precinct a little while ago. And he is safe. Kano felt a surge of relief. What about Hitomi then? Stanley glanced over at him curious. Tatano says he lost track of her somehow. And that he got called back to the precinct apparently. Tatano had lost track of her? That's not like him, Kano thought. Since he was heading back there anyway, I handed the guy over to him, Sasayama said. I see. Kano was glad to hear that Tatano was alright, but his relief was tempered by a surge of anger at the thought of what had happened to Totomi. Now I'm back to tailing the briefcase, Sasayama continued. Today is my wife's birthday, you know. My plan is to wrap this thing up ASAP so we can celebrate tonight. I've already got a present and everything. I envy you, man. Closing his eyes, Kano took a moment to picture Rumi. But Chizo's face popped in his mind's eye right alongside her. Well, just hang in there, buddy. Even if your girlfriend is just a picture of Masama Nagayama. Ha ha ha! Still snickering, Sasayama hung up. Kano bit his lip and slipped his phone back into his pocket. At long last, traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. The abrupt stop made Kano smack his head against the windshield. Hey, what gives? Look, Stanley said. He gestured with his chin. What? What the fuck is happening right now? Am I tripping? There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano shouted, already hopping out of the car. Stanley was right behind him. They crept up on the target as silently as possible and rushed him when they were close. In a moment they had subdued him. Kano held his own body weight to hold Al Kawan down. What are you doing out here? He demanded. Oh, hey, guess you didn't get the memo, huh? Al Kawan flashed a quick grin. They let me go. Let you go. I think your buddy here might have hearing problems, Al Kawan said to Stanley. I'm a free man. Turned and glared at Stanley. What is he talking about? No idea. First things first, get this guy back to the precinct. I'll head over to the syndicate, hang out by myself. You don't think this is weird? Kano asked. I mean, what the heck is this guy doing on the loose again? What matters is that he is free. Maybe he's telling the truth about being let go. But that's ridiculous. Well, then I guess he must have skipped on his own, Stanley replied. In either case, your buddy screwed up royally. Now it's on to you to unscrew things. None of this sat right with Kano, but the fact remained that he couldn't let Al Kawan go. Al Karawan. He gave Stanley detailed descriptions of the hangout, and the car sped away towards Yoyogi. Then Kano headed back to the precinct with his captive, trying to reassure himself that he might learn something from questioning Al Karawan that would help resolve the case. What the fuck is going on? Kano sat opposite him in the interrogation room. He had been attempting to interview the suspect for about a quarter of an hour. He just sat ramrod stiff, not responding to any prompts or questions. What time is it right now, he asked. They'd taken away his watch, his wallet, a small knife, and a keychain. This was the third time he asked to know the time. Why are you so concerned what time it is? He gave no reply. Are you waiting on something? Again, the suspect was staunchly silent. He wasn't sure what to make of this, but he took a look at his watch. It's around 2 o'clock, he said. What time exactly? It's 2:18. 2:18 in how many seconds? Look, just cut the bullshit! Kano grabbed the prisoner by his collar. What the hell are you people after? He merely repeated his question. What time is it right now? With a growl of aggravation, Kano shoved his wristwatch in his face. Ah, it's 2:20, he said. Okay then, that should do it. What? What does that mean? The interrogation went on for several more hours, despite Kano's best efforts. However, he said nothing more. During all that time, the case continued to develop in unexpected ways, but Kano, stuck in the interrogation room, knew nothing about it until everyone was already over and done with. What? $13.40. This is getting confusing now. Phone's back on in order to call for help. Oh, Hitomi chirped. That's me. She took a look at the LCD display. It's an email from Mr. Tanaka. Oh, okay. What the fuck? This is getting weird and confusing. And all these endings. Hitomi began typing out a response with practiced ease. More wild delusions rose in his mind. No! Stop! Stop, Archie. Please don't say that, bro. Early in the episode, we did the math, and we did not like the math. Please, Archie, don't touch that shit with a 40-foot pole, cuh. Stealing a quick glance at Hitomi, she noticed her gazing happy at the phone screen. No! Hitomi! Her delusions ran even more wild. Oh no! Stop, Archie! Archie, we're in the same boat, dog. I want you and Hitomi to hook up, but please don't suggest that her and Tanaka are doing it, bro. Tanaka's like 45, I think it said. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh. While he was frittering furiously, Hitomi finished typing her response. So, what did you wind up saying? Archie asked. I explained the situation, that we're trapped in a storeroom. You've got some guys chasing after you and you're looking for some van? Yes. I've also asked them to please keep a secret from my family and the police. Whoever this Tanaka guy was, Hitomi sure put a lot of trust in him. A short while later, Hitomi's phone chimed with a reply. She checked the screen in a flash, all eagerness. Archie. No, we gotta ask. So, what's that Tanaka guy have to say? A hint of jealousy slipped into his voice. He says he's going to try to find the minivan for us. Huh? If he just comes here and lets us out, I can go look for it myself. He said he wants us to hide out here a little longer. Ugh, what the hell? Seriously? He says that if someone's after me, it's safer to stay where we are. Yeah, I'm out of the running, Archie thought to himself. This Tanaka was clearly pretty concerned for her. There was really only one reason a middle-aged man would think like that. Alright, fine, we'll wait. No, don't say that, Archie. I don't want that to be true, bro, because then Tanaka...